Listen, this segment we're talking Duke basketball. They're going to play UNC tomorrow in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. I have thoughts on the game today, but let's be real. If you're tuning in looking for information about Duke basketball right now, it is likely information on the Cooper Flagg injury. I can tell you it changed the energy in the room at the Spectrum Center. Went up for a rebound. I'll give you my kind of firsthand account. I thought he was away from everyone on Georgia Tech when I first saw it. It looked like they were no one was around him, and he went down and immediately crumpled, which made me think non-contact, which made me get very, very, very worried for the young man. Go back and watch the replay. There was a situation where he jumped up for a rebound, came down, just barely clipped a Georgia Tech player's foot, which just kind of inverted his ankle. It's a rolled ankle. It's a sprained ankle. And that brings it, like, timing of it is everything, right? If that happens in December, you give them the weeks necessary to get better, and you hit the postseason ready to roll. It happens in their first game of the ACC tournament. His availability in the ACC tournament and NCAA tournament come into play. For an update, John Shire, the head coach, spoke to the media after the game. He did provide an injury update on Cooper Flagg, and I think had a pretty level head about his future availability.
He just came down, sprained his ankle. X-rays were negative, which is great. We just have to understand there's going to be swelling and to see how he recovers and how he goes from there. Look, to be honest with you, I would have to be convinced by everybody in the locker room when I go back that he should play. It's not worth it. It just isn't. And again, he was swollen already. It's not about being ready to go tomorrow. That's not the most important thing for us. We got to see if we can get him right for this run that we can make in the tournament. But I would have to be really convinced that we should even consider seeing if he can go tomorrow. And he may not be able to go anyway. He probably won't be able to go anyway. But I think it's a real long shot.
How about that? How can everything change on one single tweaked ankle for an entire conference, right? Because if you look at how all of this was how all of it kind of went down, the whole season, right? It was always Duke was going to be the flag bearer. They were going to be the flag carrier for the ACC into the postseason. Now you have everyone very worried about that. What I will tell you is when he got hurt, the score was 26-17 in favor of Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And the quote-unquote others of Duke lit it up and ended up winning the game 78-70. Con Knipple stepped up in a big way.
Massive.
To the point where it makes you wonder, like, what would a season with Con Knipple as what I call the main character, the main dude for Duke look like? But it wasn't just him. There was a 12-0 run to start the second half that in the post-game remarks, Damon Stoudemire, the head coach of Georgia Tech, I think gave about as good a compliment about that run as you can ever give. He said, it reminded me of, and then he turned to his players. He had Powell and Terry next to him, two guys for Georgia Tech. He goes, you guys are too young to remember this, but some of you out there might. He said, it reminded me of 2000 when I was on the Trailblazers and I was playing against, in Game 7, Shaq and Kobe and those Lakers, and they went on a, 27-point run, and it ended with Kobe throwing the alley-oop to Shaq. Shaq catches it, dunks it, and does the big eyes and the point as he's running down floor, which is one of the more iconic plays in NBA history. And basically what he said was, during that run, all we needed to do as Trailblazers was score one bucket, right? If you just scored one bucket and the run ended, then the whole rest of the game is different. But the run kept going, it kept building until eventually Shaq and Kobe won. And he said the same thing about the run starting at the end of the second half into, I think it ended up being an 18-2 or a 15-0 run. He said Duke did the same thing, and all we needed was, one lucky roll, one shot, one foul call, just something to slow it down, and the whole game would have been different. And my mind immediately went to, he just compared Duke without Cooper Flagg to the 2000 Lakers. That's about as high praise as you can give to a team who was missing their best player at the time. And it was, I have the entire kind of play-by-play written down. There was a block by Malawash. There was a block by Malawash, Knipple 3, 2 for 2 Malawash free throws, a Sion James 3, a Malawash putback, crowd going nuts. Like, it was a little bit of kind of everybody getting involved. And that's a credit to Duke on the other side of a Flagg injury. That is when they made the run that ended up winning them the game.
We saw that really the momentum really flip after the under 4 media timeout. So there's 3:56 remaining in the first half. Media timeout. They come out. They get a Concanipple layup. They get a block by
I have this written down also.
Then they had a block by Flagg, which led to Isaiah Evans hitting the first 3 of the game for Duke right after that with 3:17 to go. So in like a 43-second stretch, after 43 seconds after a media timeout, Damon Stoudemire immediately goes, timeout. Timeout.
And up to that point, Georgia Tech was the better team.
100%.
Duke could not shoot the 3. They started 0 for 13 from 3. Georgia Tech was playing well. Powell was knocking them down. Dongo had a few big plays. Dongo met Cooper Flagg at the rim on a Flagg attempted dunk, got the block.
Yeah.
Everything was going Georgia Tech's way. And then you're right, that 43 seconds from 3:56 left to 3:13 left, everything kind of flipped. Even when the Flagg injury threw a hiccup in that and changed the energy in the room, Duke was still able to power along. They end up getting the win. And now they have 24 hours to regroup and figure out how they want to attack UNC tomorrow with not just Flagg out, but Malik Brown also expected to miss after dislocating his shoulder for the second time this year, which is, I don't believe that's going to get enough attention because the Cooper Flagg injury is going to overshadow it. But even if Flagg was playing, Malik Brown out would have been a massive story as well.